Guys, we're back.
We're back.
For us, it's been a minute.
It's been quite the Thanksgiving.
Quite the Thanksgiving.
If you can't tell, sometimes we record ahead of time, which is why sometimes things don't maybe quite add up exactly when things happen, but
hence the title, Take Us Back to October, because as you guys understand, for that kind of announcement, that one had to be pre-recorded.
Yeah.
So if you haven't listened to that episode, go listen to it, because there's some big news in that one, and also probably big news in this one.
Yeah. Now we get to have all the fun conversations of babies, wedding, all that jazz that we've kind of been
that this phase of life always just is full of. But before we get started, you guys, go check us out on YouTube. We now finally have video and a YouTube channel up.
It's the same handle as the Instagram. And you have to go under videos, so yeah. When you hit the YouTube channel, because it doesn't show up under just the basic feed
or something. Yeah, it's
it's under videos. So
there you go.
Check it out. We got video.
Woo! Yes, so lots happening over here, but I have been dying. Me and Rachel try sometimes not to talk about things, when we're setting up our equipment, whatever, we're hanging out and we're oh, save it for the pod.
It's small talk.
Yeah.
It's wait, save it. Wait, save it.
So we've been saving it. So let's get into it.
Okay. I'm engaged.
Woo! Which I feel needs a little bit of an explanation, because you're engaged to your husband.
I'm engaged to my husband.
Which I love.
Which is really sweet. So basically, when I found out I was pregnant, I know people always ask if it was an accident. I feel I just need to clarify, no, it wasn't an accident. We're all adults. We know how biology works and we know how sex works.
You heard it here first, folks.
Basically, always what I say is, I wouldn't have been pregnant if we didn't know that we were each other's person. And it doesn't need an explanation, but people always ask me, and I'm or maybe we just wanted it when we wanted it.
It's nice to hear you clarify it, because even people in St. Louis in our friends group have asked me that before, and I'm I question sometimes myself. I'm no, I don't think it was an accident. I'm no, I'm pretty sure the answer is no.
Yeah, no,
it's nice to have you clarify for once and for all.
Yeah, we were long distance for a year, and it just got to that point where it's just we're dating each other because we're not messing around. We're not trying to just have another fling and have another relationship that goes nowhere. It was just when you find your person, you just know, and people who found their person understand and get it. And we were just at a point in our lives where it's just a mutual understanding. It's you talk about things when you're in a serious relationship. Yeah. And so that conversation had been had, and it just happened, and it was beautiful, and it was just oh my God, if it happens, it happens. And it did, and I'm so thankful for that. I'll probably make another episode on this, but
yeah,
I've suffered, I've had cysts that have been removed from my ovaries, and they said I had endometriosis, so the whole idea of the struggle of getting pregnant had crossed my mind. So the fact that it happened when it happened to me was just a blessing. But anyways,
so you had gotten married back then.
So after I found out I was pregnant, I moved. We finally were no longer long distance. I moved, put my 2 weeks in. I was living in Atlanta at the time. I feel people need a timeline because it just is a confusing story. But ultimately, in 2 weeks after I found out I was pregnant, we had planned a court wedding in St. Louis, and both our parents came and siblings. And it was beautiful. It was so magical. It was so sweet. It was so sentimental. So much love in the air. And we just had a court wedding because we wanted to, my baby just cried. But we just wanted to be a family unit for when she arrives. I think legally, for me, I was gonna be jobless until I found another job. So I was not covered by insurance anymore. There's so many different things that logistically were no, we're making this pact. It's a union.
Yeah, I love that you guys are bringing back the romance of it, because it's kind of funny. While my story of how my proposal happened is so different from yours, or in terms of where my relationship was, stages wise, it's so funny because I tell people, you know, when you're like a little girl, like you just imagine like it's just gonna be all about the romance, like
Yeah.
oh it's time to get married because we're so in love. It actually like just kind of gets to the point where it logically starts to make sense to get married. Like we're like okay, like taxes, like we're in business together, like insurance, like all of the really not sexy reasons to get married start to pile up.
Yeah, and maybe that's traditional or maybe that's just our society, but there's, I don't know. That was our thinking. So in the eyes of the government, and also it was still a very special moment. We had a beautiful dinner afterwards. But that's just what needed to be done. So that happened. But I always told Luke, I was like, he wanted to propose, and I was just like, please don't propose because I'm pregnant, because to me that like takes away from the actual moment of like why you're proposing. And I don't know, I just wanted to really be like a special moment for us. I mean, at this point, I think as you get older, you start to realize that the order of things really just matter most to like what makes sense in your life. Anyways, we went to Georgia for Thanksgiving, and at that time I was like, you know, we should really take this opportunity to take like maternity photos to announce the baby number 2, because now that I'm done with first trimester, like this is exciting. And Georgia holds a very, I guess it's sentimental to us both, because that area is like really where we started dating and where we said like I love you, you know, like all the mushy gushy stuff.
Well, I was gonna say, for people who don't know your all story, like Rachel was already living in Georgia when they started dating. Like you guys met in St. Louis, but then you moved away.
Yeah.
So
I moved away. So
your whole time like dating, it was long distance. You were in Georgia. Yeah.
So we were in Georgia, and we were like going through this forest preserve that's like on Lake Lanier, and in my head I was like, I know he's probably gonna propose. Like there would be a great opportunity for it to happen.
So you weren't like completely caught off guard. Like it was on guard.
It was
like,
in my head, but to the extent of like what he was going to do is what totally threw me off in a good way. And he I thought like my mom and brother were following us, and I just thought like they were going to be taking a photo and he'd get down on one knee, and that's how he would do this. And I just thought it was going to be extremely simple. And,
like just with your mom and brother. Like, yeah.
And then we get to this point in the walk, and I notice that there's like photos of us, like I can see some stuff ahead. There's photos of us like hanging from a tree, like trees and things like on the walkway. There's rose petals everywhere and like candles. And I was just like, oh my God, like how, like this is not what I expected. I knew what was happening, but I didn't understand like how that happened, because
it's so hard to like take it all in, because you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, and I was with him literally all day, and my mom and brother, so I was like so confused. Like how did they set this up? I don't understand.
How did he set
Well, at this point I'm like bawling, which I didn't expect to get that emotional, and I'm like really happy to have been so emotional, because it was just so meaningful and like heartfelt.
Did you like totally black out when it was happening?
Well, like I wish I remembered what he said. Like I definitely was there, but I was just crying. Makeup was everywhere.
It's hard to not, because it's like a moment of shock.
Yeah.
Because also I feel like it's
you know what it's like.
It's slightly out of body, because I don't know.
You know what's happening, and you like have to go through it, but like
you're like I've been like looking forward to this moment. Like what was this moment gonna be like? And you're like, holy shit, I'm living it right now. I don't know. And
you never know how they're gonna do it. Like you don't know how it's gonna happen, and then it's happening, and it's like no matter what it is.
Oh my God, you're writing my story right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah, it's like nothing could be. I don't know. Nothing could have gone better. But so then he gets down on one knee and whatever, puts the ring finger, like all that.
Whatever. He gets on one knee, whatever.
And I turn and I see his mom walking towards me, and his sister and dad, and like that's when I just like lost. I like
because
fell to the ground.
Because they're not from there.
Like, no, like they flew into Georgia. That's who had set up the whole thing.
Oh,
Luke had everything printed and like ordered to Georgia. Like he had planned it out for a couple weeks ahead of time.
No, you guys, Rachel sent me this picture. I'm like zooming in on the picture. I'm like, oh my God, like there's photos like lining the way. I was like, hey, and look.
Yeah, it was so sweet.
It was so cute. So if you guys are curious at all about Luke's setup, the picture that we had posted to announce Rachel's pregnancy was also from that moment.
Yeah.
So check it out on our Instagram at the underscore RL underscore podcast. I'm totally gonna say that. It's kind
The
of
RL
hilarious.
podcast, and you'll
Include
find
the
it.
underscores,
Someone you
guys.
follow is probably following this. But yeah, so it's official and it happened, and I don't know, it's just thank you. Like it just exceeded what I thought would have happened, but I should have known better because he is a romantic guy, and
You know what? I
his mama raised him right. So.
There you go. I was gonna say, not to like bring this into my story, but when I think about what you just said in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, no, when I was picturing walking into my proposal, when I finally realized something was up, same deal. I thought it was just about the people that I was with. We gotta give our guys more credit.
Yeah.
They freaking did the thing.
Yeah, and
did the thing.
They really did, and you'll know. I mean, I feel like it comes through with dating at the beginning too, of like how extravagant or like how little meaning or how much meaning they put into something, no matter how big or small it is, and then that's usually a good indicator that like, you know, it's a good guy. Because you gotta keep it alive, you know, like. I don't know. Everyone's at a different gauge of like what's romantic, what's not, but it feels really special when they make it really special.
It's interesting because like proposals are so specific to the couple, and I love hearing like people's proposal stories. I just love it because it's so.
It really is very different.
It's so insightful for their like different relationships, you know, and different personalities. I'm like, oh, like it's always sweet though.
It's funny because I had given the guidelines of like I want it to happen on a rooftop in Greece somewhere. And I am joking around. Like, I never anticipated to be on a rooftop in Greece, but I said
like,
that.
It would have been nice.
Yeah, but I like, the reason I said that, I don't know if I said this in a previous episode or not, but basically I was like, it just cannot be in a diner in the middle of, like, Oklahoma. There's got to be a little bit of a standard.
Like, I've got a benchmark here.
Yeah, and then it's just, like, perfect when it happens, so.
Okay. Again, I don't remember if this is something we mentioned before or not, so pause on that because I'm gonna just say it now in case we didn't. I just realized the whole like story of your relationship progression was you didn't want to be proposed to pregnant.
Yeah.
And you ended up getting proposed to pregnant.
To be fair, he had it planned before I was pregnant, so I'll give him like that happened before. But the way it just happened was like
you make your plans, you hear God laughing, like it's not gonna go. It's hilarious.
Things happen how they're meant to happen, and that's gonna be different for everyone, which is a lot of fun. But anyway, so now obviously if you're engaged, you gotta plan a wedding if you want to go down that route. So this is when I turn it over to you, and I really want to hear a little bit about how you chose to book your wedding overseas.
Yeah, I think it's almost insane to me how something that seems so freaking straightforward, it's like the number one, it's like the number one most complicated thing in the beginning of wedding planning. Like it doesn't seem like it should be that hard. Like the question of where are you having your wedding? And I don't even mean the venue. I mean, what city in the world?
Where in the world are you gonna have your wedding?
You have to get married somewhere, like pick a place. Like it seems like it would be simple. Yeah. It wasn't simple for us.
So how'd you go about like figuring that out?
Honestly, like, okay, so my fiance spent some time planning the proposal. So after we got engaged, he was like, honestly, like respectfully, I need a minute. Need a minute from planning. Like I don't want to mess with it right now. Like let me just like relax and call it like job well done for a minute.
Yeah.
Understood. So I spent the next 2 months making Pinterest boards, and I know that just in terms of like values for spending, he was gonna have a heart attack at the price tag of the kind of wedding I wanted in Chicago.
What was it checking out to be though? Like what were you looking at? Venues and
yeah, like I was trying to like calculate packages, because when you look up venues, you know, you can see the space and like you can see the per plate prices, and then because that's what you had to go. Like if I'm, you know, just call it an even 100 times like that, that's on top of the venue. That right there, those two things, already tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I was trying to just put preliminary numbers together on like what it was looking like, he wasn't gonna love that, and it also wasn't about like what we could afford. It was about like how we wanted to choose to spend it, because like you said, you can make a wedding as expensive or as cheap as you want. And I've had some friends do it on the cheap, and you wouldn't have had any idea because they're like master negotiators, and I'm like, damn it, I need that skill.
Or they're
better.
like making all their centerpieces and doing so many.
Not even like in a DIY way, in a like I've got hookups and connections kind of a way, and I'm like, love
Where are those
it.
hookups and connections?
Florida.
Oh,
Mostly
okay.
Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, if you need some thrown your way, Florida's on your radar for a wedding, because a lot of people have that on the radar for a wedding. But you know, when like this day and age, I don't feel like it's very unique to have friends and family all over.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've got, you know, I lived in Florida for a while. I've got friends up in Florida, from Chicago, a lot of family there. He's from Kentucky, a lot of family there, scattered throughout the Midwest and beyond, right? And I feel like that's super normal this day and age, and so it does become the case where like we live in St. Louis. Neither of us are from St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't seem like St. Louis is the place for us to get married, to be honest. It's just not.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get that.
And he would have loved a backyard wedding at his parents'. And they would have done it beautifully too.
Yeah.
Like
Paducah.
Yeah.
Illinois.
But Paducah is not easy to get to, so that was my thing, right?
I need to visit this town that he
It's, like,
loves
legendary
so
at
much
this
because it
point.
runs through his veins, and
They're like,
I'm
you know,
sure. Like, what did you think when he was just like, why don't we just have an parents' backyard? Like,
I was like immediately no. But like not in a bad way.
No.
But like not in a bad way, because I know, like, I can see the vision for like what he's thinking, but it's logistically difficult because I can't ask people to fly into Paducah. There officially is an airport. It just only flies in and out of, I think, like Charlotte or something.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
my friends and family wouldn't be able to really get there, and then like where are they gonna stay, and like the list goes on when it comes to the logistics. You do need to come to Paducah. Fun fact, Dippin' Dots are from Paducah.
Oh, I don't know the last time I've had Dippin' Dots, but maybe I need to go there and try it.
Well, it's funny because every time we see Dippin' Dots, Hayden feels the need to go support the Dippin' Dots.
from Paducah.
business.
From where I'm
Represent.
from.
Just in case you're wondering.
Yeah, I'd love to do a weekend there. That'd be fun.
It would be fun. We'll do it. But yeah, so I mean, it would have been fun to have people there. But like, and I always wanted Chicago because I'm from there, and so much of Hayden Stanley haven't been to Chicago. So I thought like, oh, how fun to like invite everybody and throw like a whole weekend in Chicago and like show off like the city I love. But logistically, it just like wasn't happening. So it was like we literally have to choose to get married somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah. When you have everyone that has to travel regardless, then you just, again, do what you need to do and what you have to do.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to like actually share the numbers with what you're finding in Chicago, I'm like really curious.
Okay, so I'm because it was like so long ago, I don't really remember numbers wise, but I was definitely probably looking at like 50 to 70 being
Oh
a
my
place.
god.
Yeah.
This is
And-
really insane.
No, and that's why it wasn't gonna happen like for us really. Like it just wasn't. My friend.
And that's like just for like a few hours, right? Like you get it at like 2 p.m. for the ceremony, and
then you have to think, like are you doing like buses for transport? Okay, my friend, God bless her, Abby, I love you so much. Your shout out here. She's having like a 400-person wedding in Chicago, and I cannot wait for this wedding because it's going to be lit.
Can I come?
I'm already stressed out, like, when I hear her planning stuff of the amount of things, you know what I mean? Like, just because in comparison, one of the reasons why we're getting married in Mexico is the lack of effort that we have to, because it's packaged, it's wrapped up in a bow. I physically can't plan it if I wanted to, right? Like,
So you guys don't
I
have a
can't-
wedding planner, right?
No, we have a coordinator at the resort, and then we have like a kind of like travel agent team, if you will,
Okay.
who like made our wedding website.
And this is
stuff.
something you had mentioned before too, which I actually think is really neat because I didn't know it was a thing. But you said that there's like group pages on Facebook of the venue where people had their weddings, and then they like can put stuff in this
Oh my
chat,
gosh.
so you actually like can talk directly to people who just got married there and like what their experience was.
It's something that my mother-in-law told me to do.
Oh, so she knew about it.
Yes, good for her.
Yeah, good for her.
No,
shout out to Holly.
Yes, shout out Holly. She's like, you need to go like follow like the Facebook pages, and like people are talking about it. And I actually just this week got put in a group like messenger chat with the brides at the hotel who are all my same month and year, like, so all of us, because it's like, hey, if we're the same night, like, want to split fireworks, you know?
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm like, if you're like before or after
Is
me,
someone
like,
bringing a hair straightener?
no, like literally, it's like, okay, but you know, hey, want to use my photographer? Like, you know, I'm flying out my makeup artist. Like, let me know if you like their style. Like, I've seen that on this page. That's, you know, my wedding is still far enough out yet. We're not like that detailed yet, but I am like, you know, what quotes are you guys getting for flowers and stuff? Or like, are you going through the resort for everything? Because also,
Flowers are so expensive. Like,
So
lots, like,
expensive.
yeah. It's just
literally,
something
when we started this whole process, my fiance said to me like, okay, would you rather lights or flowers? And I was like, damn, I would rather have like the pretty fairy lights like over the dance floor.
Yeah.
I was like, crap, I would choose that.
So would I.
And then my friend told me, she was like, okay, but also, this is one of my friends who already is married, and she was like, think back to my wedding. I didn't have like florals on my tables. Did you notice? I'm like, no, of course, like I don't
No.
remember that from
Yeah.
your wedding. And she's like, you're like, I'm getting married like outside too in Mexico. She's like, you don't need to decorate.
You don't
that.
even know fully like how the weather is gonna be.
No, I'm a little bit nervous about that. Of course, but like
It's October though.
it just
Isn't it
is what
like
it is.
perfect? Isn't it like
No,
good?
it's still the end of hurricane season
Okay.
yet. So, but I'm on the west coast of Mexico, not like the Gulf side. So we will see. Hopefully, all goes well. I'm sure it will be humid. I'm sure it will. It's Mexico, so it's gonna be humid.
A lot of hairspray, a lot of setting spray.
Anti-humidity spray.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yep, it's by Amica.
Do I live under a rock?
I don't think most people know about it. I
Okay.
bring that shit everywhere, and every girl's always like, I've never heard of this. It's heat activated, so you have to like spray it in your hair, and then you have to do your hair. Like, you can't just
Okay.
put it in it. You have to like straighten or curl your hair.
Yeah. Or do your hair like the day before?
I would
feel
say
like
that
so
it like works okay. Definitely helps, so it's not like frizzy. But I know for my hair, if it's like super humid, like curls will fall.
Yeah.
It just will happen.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Which also brings me back to like the stress that I have over like, how am I gonna do my hair on my
Right.
wedding day?
Yeah, I mean, not to give anything away, but from what I've seen, what looks really, really good, especially with that dress, is, you know, like the half up, half down. I don't know if that's,
I think
don't
that's
know if
what I'm gonna
public
choose.
information yet, but
It's
seriously,
fine.
it's literally, it's like,
That's what everyone tells me. I have to have my
Stunning.
hair down. I think
you do. You have that gorgeous hair. You
you
can't
know,
just have
it's
it
so
out.
funny because I always thought, like when I saw brides and stuff, that like having your hair out of your face accentuates your features or just shows off your face more. And so I kind of always thought that was a point, and that's why I'd always pictured like hair back and like up and out. But I guess I recognize now, especially like with myself, my own features is the example that like I think my hair complements my features better.
Yeah.
It doesn't highlight my features
also,
to have it out of my
you
face.
I rarely
I
see
know.
you with your hair up.
That's why when I was saying to people I wanted my hair up, they were all like, "You've got to be kidding me! Like you need to look like you."
Yeah.
And I just don't wear it up.
Yeah.
I don't wear. I do wear at the gym.
Yeah.
Like that's
no,
it.
for me, I'm like, I think I might end up with like an updo or extensions, because like
you literally have your hair up right now.
I like never wear. I feel like I rarely wear my hair down. Like I actually have to style it if I want to wear it down. That's the thing.
When we
So-
were at even that IRL event in New York,
Yeah.
the girls
I was
sitting
like, my hair's going
behind
up.
us, but people were like, "Oh my god, your hair looks so good up," and you're like, "I literally just threw it up, like
Yeah.
didn't style it," and they're like, "Oh my god, it's perfect," like because it was. It just, you know. So that's what I've learned is like people have their little things, and that it's just different than what I thought. Like everything when it comes to wedding planning. Wedding planning for me has been a lesson of like never say never.
Yeah, well, that's how it is having a baby too. Just throwing it in there.
Pretty much growing up and becoming an adult, never
Not
say
just
never.
having the baby, but like what you do with the baby. Anyways, that's a different topic. But like, yeah, as part of growing up, it's like you think you're gonna have everything a certain way, and
Like
then you actually
I always
through
thought,
it,
yeah.
and then you're like, and this is why we should not judge other women at all for what they do, because
Or anyone for changing their mind ever, because I always thought I would get married in Chicago. I'm getting married in Mexico.
yeah,
I was gonna have my hair up and back, you know, clean
Yeah.
girl style. I'm just that's not my look, that's not my style, so I'm not going to. And I
people are allowed to evolve and grow and
Yeah.
change.
Dude,
Period.
I don't know. This isn't like I don't think this is necessarily determined because I think I could change this with the resort, but I'm pretty sure the package that I have is a buffet. I have heard it's an amazing buffet, but again, never would have said I was having a buffet at my wedding. I wanted a plated,
funny.
like, coursed dinner. I thought that was more elegant. I think it's fine.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
one
fine.
thing that I don't want is I do not want plated stuff where it's
What?
like steak or chicken or salmon.
yeah, no, I
would
wanted
be
that.
like, I'm like buffet all the way.
Okay, so tell me why. Gas this up for me.
Okay, well, because one, it's like, it's so basic. Like to have a plated thing.
I think the buffet
No,
is
no, this is great, but like this is a big buffet. Like think of like the really pretty buffets, like charcuterie boards everywhere. Like people can pick. Like it's
I don't think I've gone to
aesthetic.
nice enough buffet. We went to one for your birthday. That was a nice place buffet, but like, I don't know. Aesthetic. I
Yeah.
hope it's aesthetic.
No, like think about like these dessert buffets. Like no
I
one just
love
wants to
dessert
have a
buffet.
cupcake and then find out that everyone had the cupcake, so you didn't get your cupcake. Okay, like that's
Yeah.
the biggest buzzkill is when you don't get your dessert at the wedding.
Preach!
So like
I actually like come
no,
on,
these
most of
beautiful
us probably
buffets.
miss
It fits everyone unless you have just like for one wedding it was like just tacos. And if you're not a taco person, well, first of all, who cares because it's not your wedding. But like
True.
at the end of the day, then the buffets allow for like so much more room to like do what
Okay.
you want or have what
This
you want.
is why I didn't love the buffet, and so tell me how you see this like mentally all meshing together. I like the sit down course like plated because I like to know everyone is sitting down at attention at the same time.
Okay.
Like it's not like, oh, this table starts by the time we're at the last table, the first table's already done. Like I want everybody to be sitting down ready for like, I don't really know that I'm gonna be doing speeches, if you will, but I mean me and my new husband,
Then that'll
Matt,
be-
we'll give a toast.
That'll
you know?
have to be the person that's like organizing it, or like
Yeah.
if you have someone that's like kind of, what is it like Ashley, or like.
We'll have a
setting
wedding
things along.
coordinator
Yeah.
at the
Then that's
hotel.
their job. They're gonna be
Yeah.
the ones that are directing all of that,
Yeah.
and they'll be the ones that are like, okay, like this table goes, and then when everyone's seated after the last table, then they'll start something. So it's
But
like,
that's my hard thing because by the time the last table's seated, the first table's like done eating their food.
yeah, well then they're satisfied, and their stomachs are full, and they're gonna be drinking tequila. Come on, like they'll be
Better
good.
be drinking tequila.
They're gonna feel really good, but like you don't know how many people you're expecting either just yet, I imagine. So like if it were like
No,
a
that's
400
what's so
person
hard.
wedding, you're right. The
I'm so
buffet
glad to
would
hear.
probably
Guess who
be-
booked their flights this week?
That's us.
Woo! Yeah, so we've got Rachel and Luke. Check, they're coming.
And
it's like
our grandma. I mean, not our grandmas.
Lucia's
our
grandmas.
moms. Because they're gonna babysit.
Which I love that, and so I'm like, I'm slowly hearing from everybody who's coming, but I know it's gonna be a long time till I have an actual number, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit hard in my head.
And like, but it'll go like I hear what you're saying because
Yeah.
I would understand that. But then think of like you can serve how much you want. Like if someone doesn't like something, they don't have to have that.
Yeah.
Like it's opening up the doors to just a little bit more independence.
I'm
in
so
that sense.
glad that you love a buffet because that was one thing that I was like iffy on, but it wasn't like gonna hold me back. I just wasn't in love with that being
Yeah.
part of the vision.
You
So
can
now
make-
I'm like, just close the book. I'm worried about that. Like,
I'm so
just call
excited.
it what it is.
No, I'm gonna send you a bunch of Pinterest boards of like beautiful buffets. I think
Yeah,
there's a
send it
way
to
to
me.
go. I just think they probably haven't been done right. Where it's like
People have told me that the buffets at the resort are like amazing.
they're gonna be
Based on the
amazing.
Facebook page, so
There's probably gonna
glad
be,
I'm part
it's
of it.
probably gonna be beautiful and the food's gonna be fresh. It's
Yeah.
gonna be so good. There's two things actually that I've always like thought: one, buffets,
Okay.
and two, no assigned seating.
No. No.
Really?
Have you been to a wedding where there's no sign?
Yeah. But it was a
That
long,
worked out
long
for you?
time ago, and the only thing that I remember is that like people got to sit next to who they wanted to sit next to, and then it wasn't like.
Some people were struggling to find a seat.
Oh, well,
I
I've been
will
to
tell you that
assigned
right now.
seating, and I found it more awkward because I'm like, we're at a table with like we don't know anyone.
Okay, but also I bet you it was more efficient.
Well, yeah.
Because here's my thing, we went to one where there's no assigned seating and it was with like, you know, kind of some extended family and there's a bunch of people at this wedding we don't know, and then it was like, okay, people are gonna sit by who they're gonna sit by, not based on the number at the table, so if there's one random extra seat, nobody's gonna sit there. If you
Oh,
only
yeah.
have the right amount for people, some people now
That's true.
don't have a seat because you want to sit with your partner.
I've never heard the argument for the other way.
We
so
ended
this
up
is why we're
sitting on
talking
like
about
the
this.
steps, eating our like
Okay, well,
buffet
no.
plate
No.
because we were confused and there was no place to put your purse and leave it there because people are all
That's
moving
true.
around. You don't have a spot. If you need like a coat, like your man's jacket or something, and you need a spot to put it, you need your spot.
Okay.
Granted, this will be at a
I've been
resort,
convinced
so people could
otherwise.
go. It was like a little bit chaotic, and I had a headache at this wedding, so I was like had a headache and wanted to go
Oh,
get
you
in
just
the
wanted
line
to know, like,
for
where you
a
needed
drink,
to go.
and I just needed to like set down my stuff because I needed to go like get like a drink of water, and it was like chaos ensued, and I was like, I just feel like it didn't need to be this complicated.
Okay, I didn't think about it from that.
There you go. That's my 2 cents.
This is why we're pitching this in, because guys, we've never done this before.
I want to know everyone's like, what's their one thing that they experience
What?
at a wedding? You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, then what is the one thing that you're willing to ball out on? No discussion. Like, this is what we're gonna put a lot of, I guess, money into. Like, this is what I need to have, period. No negotiations.
If you would have asked me at the beginning of wedding planning, I would have like for sure had my priority list. I actually think I even wrote the priorities for it, so I should really reference that. But I guess like number one, like if you would have asked me at the beginning, photographer.
That's what I'm at.
Yeah,
Photographer.
because like
Those are the moments.
that's what you're literally the physically going to have after. That was the first thing I booked. I mean, I booked my venue and then I booked my photographer. So I have that booked.
Was it
Check
someone
box.
in Mexico, or are you flying them out?
I'm not flying them out. They're Canadian, but they've like done that resort before. Yeah, she's like super artsy. I loved her style. I found her on Pinterest for
I'm gonna
like
have
this
to see
resort.
this. Okay.
It's like that. That's how I found her, and that's like some of the pictures I was referencing for when I was looking at weddings at the resort were photos she had taken. And so when I reached out to her, I mean, if her price includes like her travel, it was comparable to what I was going to be paying for like the wedding, for the photo packages through the resort anyways, so I was fine with it.
Yeah. Guys, just FYI, if you hear my daughter crying, she's not being neglected or ignored, she's just with my husband. So please do not think that I am just ignoring her cry and she's just up there.
Rachel's heart is slowly breaking in her chest right now.
It is, because I hear these loud thumps and thuds, and it's your child with dad, so you know things are fine, but like things are done a little differently. She's fine. She'll be fine. She's just, it's end of the night. Bath time. Anyways.
Bath time. But yeah, no, so I had like this whole like list of priorities for like, because our whole wedding is part of a package. So if I did nothing else, there would be a wedding. It would be basic. I'm sure it'd be beautiful and fine.
Okay.
But like there's a bunch of like add-ons again through the resort though. So DJ is an add-on. A dance floor is actually an add-on. I'm like, what the fuck? Come on.
How is that not a given?
Yeah, it should be.
You know what's
That
kind of
one's a little
buttsville, honestly, which is unfortunate, is when you go to a wedding and nobody goes and dances on the dance floor. To me, that's like so
Yeah.
sad. I'm
You're
like,
gonna leave the charge at mine.
if not me,
She's like, don't put me on the spot.
if I'm gonna have a little tequila in me. If not me, it's gonna be my husband.
Good.
Fiance, sorry.
Oh,
He
fiance,
will
husband.
get out there. But you know what? You've got a really good group coming so far that I know where it's like everyone's gonna be like,
I'm
this
excited.
is one of the last hurrahs before everyone moves away. So
I'm excited. I really hope people will use it at that. I'm like literally use my wedding. Like let's just party, have a vacation. Like one of the things too that I really liked about doing the like resort package thing for myself and for my fiance is my engagement. It was awesome because it was like he proposed and then essentially we were at my engagement party. Like it was one of those, and I was so like, what's the positive term for blindsided? Because like in a good way, shock. So either way, the whole night was like,
I just can't think of it.
yeah, right. Like so, that's what I mean anyway. But like, so the whole night I was like out of my mind, if you will. Like, so I felt like I got a mini taste of how brides have kind of described to me that they feel at their wedding, because you want to say hi to everyone, you physically don't have enough time to, and like also enjoy your day. So it's like we had all of these people at my house, like at this, I'm gonna call it our engagement party. I mean, there were 50 plus people when I counted it back then, and obviously I'm so honored that they had came out. So it's like I wanted to take time and like chat with everyone and say hi to everyone, say thank you to everyone. It's like you don't get a chance to, and so I was really excited about the concept that like, okay, our wedding is one night, but people will be at the resort for multiple nights. So hopefully I get a chance with that respect, hopefully I get a chance to actually say hi to people
will.
over a period of a few days,
Is
so
it-
it's less just like in my face because I'll get overstimulated because I'm that person.
Is it just that one day that you have like scheduled out and like plan things, or do you guys have like a party the night before, like a brunch the next day, or?
We have a rehearsal dinner the night before.
Okay.
And so like we have like a location at the resort already reserved for that. That is included in our package as well. Beyond that, I think is something that I'd have to like coordinate separately, and I do intend to like I think make like welcome goodie bags and tell everybody, you know, I'm sure people's schedules on when they're going to get to the resort will vary. So I think I'm just gonna pick a time and be like, yeah, if you're already here or if you're getting here between this time and this time, like we'll be hanging out at, you know, this bar within the resort, and I can have a bunch of goodie bags to like hand out to people.
Yeah.
Try to like do it that way. Other people have talked about like buying like all their guests these catamaran rides, and I'm like, well, if money wasn't an object, which I'm not like trying to emphasize that it is, because I'm very blessed and fortunate, but it's just also like a pick and choose thing, and I'm like, I don't know that I'm gonna get that far.
You're providing what you need to provide.
I think
People
if you
are
were
there
having
for the right reason.
I think if you were having like a 30-person wedding,
Yeah.
then for sure. I feel like all the brides that I've seen do that have like a smaller guest list, so it depends. Probably, I don't know. I really don't think that that's going to be realistic for us. Of course, I'm going to be like loving if people are coming, and I've heard great feedback thus far.
Yeah. You
But
can
of
always
course-
just be like, hey, this is what we're doing. We'd love to open it up for anyone else that wants to join.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, I think it's also good that people can kind of go at their own pace too.
Yeah.
I will say, like, just speaking on my end, like, I'm not missing this wedding, but I'm not leaving my 4-month-old and my 15-month-old like with grandma here in the States. So we're bringing the grandmas with, and they're gonna babysit when we need them to babysit, which is, I'm beyond grateful for that.
Mhm.
But having also kind of that flexibility
Yeah.
is nice, because it's like we know that we're gonna have an amazing time when the wedding is, and then we also have the time to like check in and like be with our kids if we need to be, but like then still like come whenever we want to come. Like it's just you know, it's just I don't
no,
know.
that's my purpose. Like, and that's what I really hope like our guests understand is like, oh my gosh, please use this as like your vacation and enjoy.
Yeah.
Because then I don't have to feel like it's a burden. Like
I know.
you're spending it all for
Oh
me.
yeah, no, we're
you
so
know what
excited.
I mean?
For us, it's like it's more about you guys. But as a mom, like peace of mind when you know like your kids around, like that's just it will always be
that's
like that.
why we got a resort where like I feel like it caters to both, because there's an all adults, like adults only side, and there's like a family side. Like there's a cute little like water park and stuff for kids even. And so I'm like, because there's so many people who are on our list who like do have kids and families, and I'm like, look, our event is adults only, but that's, you know,
If our kids were older,
do
we'd
it.
be leaving them. But like
yeah, it's like do
now-
with that information what you want, but like live your life and enjoy your family vacation. Like let's make it that.
Yeah. But
So.
it's gonna be gorgeous. It's gonna be beautiful.
I hope
Are you
so.
nervous at all? Like, are you anxious at all? To, like, walk down the aisle and like have everyone there.
I think I really will be. I'll probably black out for that too.
So emotional. Like, do you
Dude,
think you'll
everyone is like, oh my god, like even when I was trying on dresses, they're like, oh, is your fiance gonna cry when he sees you? And I'm literally like, no.
Wait,
I'm
did
gonna
you-
cry.
Did you, with your photographer, did you make a list of like must-have shots?
Dude, I still have 10 plus months. Yeah, 10 plus months till my wedding. Yes, my friends have recommended for me to do that. I did start one on like a Google Doc. Haven't touched it in months though, because I am having a long engagement. So let's collaborate, and I'll send you mine, you send me yours. Let's make sure we've got like the full list of like necessary shots, because my one friend is like, I don't have a dress, like a picture of just me with like my wedding dress.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
I've heard of someone, I think it was Whitney Simmons. I think I've mentioned her before, but I think what she did was she took wedding photos before, like the day before too, or the day after. I think it was like just her and her husband. And that way it was just
Which
like,
is cool and
they
beautiful.
had a moment to like.
But you have to get
just
your
be
hair
in
and
it.
makeup like done again.
Yeah, I don't know what she did. with
Okay,
that.
here's another thing that I said
I think
I
she
would
did
never
that.
do that I'm totally doing is a first look. I love the moment. Like I've seen couples do both, right? But I've loved the moment when they didn't do a first look and you see them see each other for the first time, you get all the feels and it's so emotional and beautiful.
You mean like opposed to like walking down the aisle and him seeing you then for the first time?
Like that is like the tradition that I wanted. Like that's what
Yeah.
I said like I would always do and like save it for that, because I feel like you're inviting people to be part of the moment. Like that's to me how I see a wedding. I see that you're inviting people, you know, the point is to like profess your love in front of your friends and family and your commitment, yada yada. And so like I think it's beautiful when people share that. I realize we just have such FOMO. Like we're not missing our own cocktail hour. Like we would just my fiance would be like itching out of his skin to get back to the party. Like both of us would.
Yeah.
We'd be like, oh my god, like what are our friends doing right now?
Yeah.
Like we're over here having to take these photos, and it would like be lame for us. And also I definitely I am like the like emotional wreck person. Like I just get so overwhelmed. Like I want to feel my feels, and it's gonna be like such a feelsy moment that I'm gonna be a basket case. So I'm like maybe if I see him beforehand, like it'll make me more calm for that moment where I'll actually, you know, not be completely blacked out and in shock, like, but actually get to
I
like,
feel like
enjoy
you
the
still will
moment.
though, because it's like
Yeah, I
it's,
probably
because
will.
it's still like the moment where
You
you're,
guys,
like, you're
I
walking
just,
down the aisle.
I've really just accepted it about myself this year that I am that kind of person. Like I think I
Make
would
sure
have like
everything's waterproof.
I would have, I laughed because of the humidity, but like, I think I would have considered myself like, oh, like, I'm a cool, calm person. Like, the fuck not, I am. I'm just not. I wish I
No,
was
you're
the cool
not.
girl.
In a good way.
I'm not.
Though.
Yeah, no, in a good way. Like, I'm fine with it. But like, I think I am.
You bring so much energy to the table. That's what it is. And so like I think for you, I think like you're well, I don't know. I think, but I feel like you're kind of the definition of an extrovert.
Oh, I'm such an extrovert.
Like people around you just like feel like you get your energy from that.
I do.
So like no wonder you're gonna be like
we need to be around our people.
Stimulated.
No,
like
I
crazy.
totally.
Because you're gonna be like, oh, my people are there.
No, it is like that though, and it's like this is how I know I'm such an extrovert. They say right, like it's where you get your energy from, but also like then when you're like in a sad moment, do you know lean towards people or need a moment alone? And I'm not. It's not that I don't understand the value of being alone, and I've lived alone. Like I can understand the value of hanging out with myself. I get that.
Yeah.
But I remember even in like my young 20s, sometimes I remember like a boy broke up with me or whatever, and like my work friend was like, "Do you want me to come to the bathroom with you?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, I do." And it was that moment where I was like, "I don't like being alone for shit. Come with me. Let's go watch me break down."
There you go. It's like I just want to break. Well, even just earlier today, you know, I'm not gonna say what, but like you're like we're doing this together. I'm like okay.
I'm like, you know what? Like I don't know. I just like maybe I'm an overshare sometimes. Like hence the podcast.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked you to be on it. Wait, there's this word that I found, or like this lady that I listened to, where ambiverted. If you're ambiverted, and I've never felt more seen in my life. It's someone that is not an extrovert or introvert, but it's someone that is an extrovert when they're around the right people.
That's so nice. That's like
And
a
I figured
sweet
out
combination.
That I'm not the problem.
He's like, it's all these dumb bitches making me want to just go introverted.
I thought for a moment, I was like, am I just an introvert? Do I have social anxiety? No, I'm just an ambivert.
I like that.
And
I like
so
that a lot.
I've tried to fit in with groups of people that it feels like it's just going against the grain, and I keep putting on myself like, what is wrong with me? Like, why isn't it clicking? Like, what am I doing wrong? And it's just not the right crowd.
Yeah, I love that. That makes
I felt
How
really
validating.
seen. I felt very validated.
Yeah.
There apparently like 80% of the people in the world are like that. Well, it doesn't sound that special, but like
I've heard that people are like mixtures. Like you're not one or the other most often. I do think I'm a true extrovert. I also kind of think I don't know. I was about to say I think Hayden's an extrovert, but he likes his space from me. He's like, yo.
y'all are with each other every day, all day.
You know
just
what?
about.
That's fair.
So-
When you put it that way, I think he is like extrovert. And I think normally
He is an
people
extrovert.
find Normally, I think people find like an introvert finds an extrovert, and I don't think we did.
Yeah. What it is usually a rule breaker is always with a rule follower.
So are you
I'm
follower?
the rule follower to a T, and Luke's the rule breaker.
Me too. That's why they're friends too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, if we like dare step out of the lines, I'm freaking out. I'm extremely paranoid.
I feel
Luke's
like
like,
it's
"Oh,
because
for
I was
real."
raised by a teacher, so I'm like,
Oh yeah.
you don't mess with people. Like you stay in line.
You know you do a good job when you color in the lines, okay? Like that's how you get
Obviously.
your praise. But like to
A
them, they're
plus.
like, who cares what people
They
think?
think,
And I'm
no,
like, I
yeah.
guess I do.
He liked to challenge the norm, hence the entrepreneur route.
Yeah.
Good
So,
for-
anyways,
Good for that.
I think that kind of concludes our episodes.
Yeah, I like that, you guys. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. If you've gotten a chance to take a look at our YouTube channel,
Yeah.
if you have made it all the way to the end of the episode,
Thumbs up, 5 stars, baby, and we'll catch you here next time.
catch you soon. Bye.